Hey everybody, welcome to the SkyLounge, here to review some Seattle Seahawks action as we fucking win 17-9 against the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. NFC wildcard matchup, and my fucking god, the injury list for the Seattle Seahawks and the Philadelphia Eagles combined can make a fucking football team. Okay, so for the Seattle Seahawks, you had big outs, right? Mike Iupati, Dwayne Brown, Jaron Brown, Malik Turner, Michael Kendricks. Yeah, it's a bad fucking look to have all those guys injured, but oh my fucking god, the number of Eagles starters that are injured right now was ridiculous to say the least. And then throughout the progression of this game, it only got worse, okay? So you got Carson Wentz starting in his first ever postseason game of his career, of his young career. And let's not forget, yes, he is a Super Bowl champion, but it was the foundation he laid in the regular season that, created the legend of Big Dig Nick. And Carson was looking to get his. And unfortunately, for Philadelphia, they weren't able to do much on offense with Carson. And kind of a sluggish back and forth initially, but Seattle was the one on offense that looked to move a little forward. But Jason Myers on a 35-yard field goal attempt is blocked by a man named Curry. Must be pretty hot to get that fucking block in there. But you see on special teams that the Seattle Seahawks just kind of irked themselves a little bit. And throughout the entirety of this game, you just feel the physicality of each team's defense. And, of course, despite that, you have guys like DK Metcalf on the Seattle Seahawks offense, making big fucking catches, even early on in the game. And it felt like a good showcasing of two teams that, despite how depleted they are on their rosters, they can still make certain moments count. But unfortunately, what really weighed the Philadelphia Eagles down to an inevitable defeat, in my eyes, is Carson Wentz going down. And now, a lot of people are going to look at this and say, Jadeveon Clowney intentionally targets Carson Wentz. Now, I think there is a very decent option to give Clowney the flag there. I wouldn't disagree with it. I would have thought, okay, that's a bit of a rough hit. But to say that it's an intentional hit, I think that's kind of wrong. Obviously, no one's out there trying to hurt anybody. It's just kind of a freak circumstance that it happens so that the way Clowney goes down, it hits the kind of side head helmet of Carson Wentz, as Carson Wentz also gets knocked in his back and goes down. And Carson actually played at least, I think, one or two more plays after that, but you could see him on the bench just really uncomfortable, just struggling a little bit to keep his head up. And you just felt, man, this could be night for Carson Wentz. And you feel horrible. Because again, this is a kid who has been so good in the regular season, has had no postseason action. His first postseason game, he gets injured in the first quarter. That's unbelievable. And so, with that chance, the Seattle Seahawks march down the field, only able to get a successful field goal kick from Jason Myers, 49 yards this time. So, hey, you missed on the 35, getting blocked on that shit, but made a 49-yarder. So, compensating for that, putting the Seattle Seahawks up 3-0. And now enter Josh McCown, who I thought, okay, this is the third 40-year-old man in these wild card playoff round. Okay, let's see what he does. Surprisingly, McCown was fantastic. I thought all throughout this game, McCown was the difference maker for the Philadelphia Eagles. Able to mix in the run game with his just simple passing offense. And McCown still got legs. That was the other crazy fucking part about this. McCown was running. And you felt as a Seattle Seahawks fan like, oh God, our defense is going to do that typical shit where we give up too many easy yards and make a team that looks like they should be down and out a more favorable I don't know, more favorable. You create more favorable circumstances for them and shit. It was kind of frustrating. But what was more frustrating was just having that Philadelphia O-line just bully Seattle's defense for quite some time, at least in the first half. You also have guys like Ziggy Ansah going down with an injury. Was out after that injury with I think it was a neck. I think it might have been a neck injury there for Ziggy Ansah. So I don't want to say makeshift defense, but it felt like a makeshift effort. Okay? And so with that said, Elliott gets the field goal, and spoiler alert, Elliott is the only Philadelphia Eagles player to put up points on the board today, and it starts with the first one, tying the game up 3-3. But with 2 minutes left on the clock, and obviously the ball going back to Philadelphia as they deferred to start the game, if Russell Wilson has the ball with 2 minutes left on the fucking clock, you just let Russell Wilson do his thing. Okay? Don't do any stupid fucking play calling. Don't try to get cute with the goddamn players. Just let Russell march down the field with the ball with 2 minutes left. And sure enough, what happens? Opportunities created where beast mode in the 1 yard line after multiple Philadelphia Eagles defensive penalties. I want to emphasize that because that was just some brain dead shit they were doing. Beast mode runs in for a touchdown. And the way he actually got this touchdown was a beauty. He just looks like he's down, maybe a yard or two short of, the goal line. And he powers himself on through the left and just wills himself to a touchdown. And that, my friends, is what you call a character touchdown. That, my friends, is what you call ballsy. And that puts the Seattle Seahawks up at halftime, 10-3. And you figured, all right, Seattle should be good. We got news that, unfortunately, Carson Wentz was going to be out for the rest of the game. And, hey, a backup quarterback, 40-year-old man in Josh McCown, we should be okay. That's the positive thinking for most Seahawks fan. But the real Seahawks fan would think, well, Carson's out, but our defense is going to do some stupid shit. We're going to give up tons of yards and make it really uncomfortably close. And that we do. That we do, boys and girls. Now, Elliott, again, is the one where he's the guy who's getting the points on the board. I mean, let's be real. So in the third quarter, he started off with a 26-yard field goal. I mean, thank God the Seattle Seahawks red zone defense came up to snuff. But all throughout, before Elliott gets the field goal, all throughout this fucking series, it's just Seattle giving up chunks of yardage, and you're thinking, wow, okay, McCown just letting you do that, huh? Isn't that fucking fun? Irritating is the right word, because you would feel, I mean, if not for that really clutch red zone defense, I mean, we would have been tied. The dynamic of the game would have been different. But here we are. Russell Wilson given the ball. You give him one cat who is an absolute physical specimen, and you feed him the ball with just enough space, you're going to highlight reel for the ages. DK Metcalf, third quarter, about 8 minutes in, has a 53-yard touchdown. 53-yard touchdown, and he actually does a little fucking front roll after he catches the ball and get more yards after that to fucking slam dunk his arm into the fucking end zone, get the goddamn touchdown. And boy, oh boy, if people discounted DK up to this point, I don't know what the fuck you're thinking. This dude was bullying people on the coverage. I mean, holy shit, DK was so fun to watch today. And getting the PAT on, the Seahawks are up 17-6. Feeling pretty good about yourself. Despite the fact that, yes, Ziggy Ansah was ruled out. You just felt, hey, man, maybe if Seattle gets a couple of decent stops against Philadelphia, we should be good. But here we go again, giving chunks of yards. McCown looking fantastic. I mean, I've seen the Seahawks do this all fucking season long. Remember the first week of the regular season, Andy Dalton throws for over 400 yards. Holy Christ! We had Jared Goff go for over 300, and McCown was capitalizing off of a lot of this. But again, Seahawks defense doing well when they need to, so thank fuck for that. At least that balances everything out. So Elliott getting on the score sheet again, putting the Philadelphia Eagles only down 17-9. And you begin to wonder how good of an O-line can make a difference in the game. Well, with all these fucking holding calls, with all these fucking terrible calls on the O-line, you begin to wonder that a lot. Like, yeah, well, if the Seahawks had a decent O-line, we'd be good. Yeah, but no. Perish that thought. Perish that fucking thought, because we're going to get a lot of penalties, even when Russell Wilson is throwing some beautiful third and long balls. Even when Russell Wilson doesn't even get a fucking sack until the fourth quarter. Just keep underperforming. O-line, just keep doing that. And yeah, I get it. We're busted up too on the O-line. We don't have our starting center. Our left tackle is out. Our left guard is out. So with the makeshift O-line, some way, somehow, Russell Wilson is doing Russell Wilson things, killing time off the clock. And like I said, only getting the one sack on the day, and that sack coming in the fourth quarter felt huge. And despite the fact that the Seahawks didn't get any points on the board, you felt, okay, if defense kind of collapses on itself, Russell Wilson will still have the ball. That's what I felt like. I mean, even up 17-9, I felt, okay, defense might show their kind of weakness in stopping these huge chunk plays, but okay, here we go. Hopefully we get a stop, or even if we tie it, give Russell the ball, we'll be fine. And sure enough, Philadelphia marches down the field. And it's a 4th and 4, 25-yard line with about 6 minutes left. Sanders misses the pass from McCown, and I thought this was a pretty decent pass from McCown, but Sanders plops the ball. It's missed. It's gone. And the Seattle Seahawks go third and out on that drive. The subsequent drive right after that. And again, when Philadelphia has the ball back, they are just eating up yards. And it's stupid fucking penalties. And two major penalties, really, from Trey Flowers this game. Could have potentially cost us. Thankfully, the Philadelphia offense was so damaged and broken in the literal sense that they couldn't capitalize in the red zone. So we got to be lucky on that regard. But I thought the efforts on defense was a little bit troublesome from a Seahawks perspective. But again, 4th and 7. Clutch moments like these. 4th and 7 on a 10-yard line with 2 minutes left. Jaron Reed and Davion Clowney comes up big with the sack. That equals 7 sacks on the day for the Seattle Seahawks. Huge. Absolutely huge. And curious enough, 2 guys that are going to need to be paid in the offseason. And they're showing out at the right time. Now, my whole thing is, let's see where we can go. Then we can talk about paying and extending these guys. But for right now, that was such a huge play. In the heat of that moment, yes, it was such a huge play. But here we go again. 2 minutes left in the game. Russell Wilson with the ball. Never a doubt. Never a doubt. Even with Philadelphia having all their timeouts, never a doubt. You saw Russell Wilson relying on DK Metcalf, who, I mean, along with Tyler Lockett, who absolutely deserves a shot in this game, was over eclipsed by how clutch and big DK Metcalf came in these moments. And as much as we love the Marshawn Lynch touchdown, I mean, my God, beast mode coming up clutch was massive and huge. And as much as Russell Wilson was doing everything possible to keep this game alive from the air, from the ground, I mean, DK Metcalf is the closer of this game. For him to get I want to say 30, 40-yard catch from really inside the 25-yard line where Seattle had to start in the line of scrimmage, For him to get such a massive catch and gain sealed the game for the Seahawks. And my God, what a fucking win for the Seattle Seahawks in an ugly game where things weren't all that pretty. And obviously that's why we call it ugly. The Seattle Seahawks win the game 17-9. Same scoreline they won against Philadelphia in week number 13 or 14 was it? I want to say 12. Anywhere within that number range. But the bottom line is the Seattle Seahawks won. We should celebrate. We should be jubilant, but I'm more pensive right now, thinking about what the near future holds and thinking about this opponent, thinking about a lot of what ifs. What if Carson Wentz was healthy? What if some of these cats in Philadelphia were healthy? Because I want to give you the numbers and some context as to why I'm saying this. Carson Wentz, one completed pass out of 4 attempts, 3 yards, which, not an encouraging number. But again, him leaving the game injured changed the dynamic of the game. I mean, really, this was damn early in the game, first quarter. So if Carson played throughout the rest of this game, I would have said, different game. You would have had a different game. Despite the stats, I think Carson Wentz being in the game would have made an absolute difference. But Josh McCown deserves a massive shout. 18 completed passes on 24 attempts, 174 yards, but 6 sacks. 6 sacks. Carson also getting one, giving Seattle Seahawks 7 sacks on the day. I mean, it's a valiant effort by the Philadelphia Eagles, but not much more can be said after that. I mean, the run game was fairly decent with Sanders and, who's that other cat that was running out there? Boston Scott, if I'm recalling that correctly. But they fell short because of injuries. And we all play the blame game and shit, but look at the fucking injured list for the Philadelphia Eagles and tell me they are going to win this game with a straight face. They didn't have Carson Wentz. They didn't have Lane Johnson. They didn't have how many fucking pieces on defense. I can't even count anymore. I can't even count. Their wide receivers, who are any of their wide receivers? No disrespect to you guys playing in the Philadelphia Eagles, but my God, this Philadelphia Eagles team was depleted. And, a win is a win is a win, but to me, it's not a satisfying win in a sense of, we beat you guys. This was more like circumstantial, unlucky turn of events for the Philadelphia Eagles that I believe caused them this loss. If Carson Wentz was in there healthy, I would have said, man, this was a great battle. But I figured once Wentz was out, I thought it was a foregone conclusion the Seahawks were going to win. It's not arrogance. It's just the difference in that quarterback position is immense, right, in these clinical games. And how appropriate. Russell Wilson leading the Seattle Seahawks to a playoff win on the road after the Seahawks have been 2-5 with Pete Carroll in the playoffs on the road. 2-5. And to bring that up 3-5, it's exciting. It is. 18 completed passes on 30 attempts, 325 yards, 1 touchdown, 45 yards of rushing on Russell Wilson's done 9 attempts. 108.3 QBR. What more can we say about Russell Wilson? I mean, listen, guys. I've had people, and people meaning friends and colleagues who are very close to me, criticize Russell Wilson, and I figured, why are you criticizing him? He hasn't come up in clutch moments. Yeah, we credit DK for that catch, which was brilliant. I mean, the dude had, 160 fucking yards on the day, 1 touchdown. Russell Wilson is just a magician. I don't even want to hear it anymore, guys. Russell Wilson has been a magician since the day he's arrived in Seattle, and he has carried this franchise to unmitigated success. And he's showing you here now, right here and now, despite a banged up O-line, despite not having the highest graded talent on the receiving end, he still gets results. He's still a fucking warrior. And my God, kids, When you talk about Warrior, you got to talk about my boy Marshawn. And I got to celebrate the shit. Because Marshawn being back, along with Turbo, along with Luke Wilson, along with Bobby Wagner and fucking Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll and KJ and Ken Norton Jr. I mean, we got the gang back together. It is gang busters, y'all. And god damn it, man. You know, after the Seahawks lost against the Dallas Cowboys in the wild card rounds last year, I mean, I came into this game, despite the Eagles' injuries, very concerned, very cautious about my thoughts into this game. And it's funny because I made the prediction video on the Piggy Skin Picks, and I said the Bills were going to win, the fucking Patriots are going to win, the Saints are going to win, and the Seahawks are going to win. I got 1 out of 4 right. Just one. It's the Seattle Seahawks. And I told everybody, if that's the one pick I get right, I don't care. I'm happy. And sure enough, kids, that is the one goddamn pick I got right. And it feels fucking good. It feels fucking good, man. I mean, getting an ugly win like this on the road, Seattle has been doing that all season long. And I'm used to this. My frustration and admitting some of these criticisms isn't my disdain for the Seahawks. It's merely to point out things they have to fix moving forward. I mean, everybody saw it. It's national fucking television. So what does that mean moving forward? Well, with this win, and with the Minnesota Vikings win against the New Orleans Saints, the Seattle Seahawks next Sunday will be facing the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field, while the Minnesota Vikings will be facing the San Francisco 49ers on Saturday. So it's a crazy thing that's happened this last few days, but the Seattle Seahawks will be facing the Green Bay Packers, and there is a lot of playoff history there. I mean, the NFC Championship of the 2014 season comes to mind. One of the greatest games ever played, as voted by the fans and the critics of all the NFL. But in my eyes, this is going to be a rough game. The weather is going to play a huge factor, I believe, outside in Lambeau Field in January. Going to be snowing crazy-ass fucking amounts of snow. But Rodgers and that Lambeau Field home field advantage, it cannot be understated. But I'm hoping the Seattle Seahawks find some way, somehow, to get a fucking win. And if that's the case, and if some way, somehow, the Minnesota Vikings grab a win, then the Seattle Seahawks can host an NFC Championship game at home. Think about that shit for a second. But I'm not going to think anymore, man. I'm going to enjoy this dub. I'm going to enjoy this win. The Seattle Seahawks grab a win to start the decade. And it feels good. Not the coughing, but the win feels good. So, let's go ahead and end it there, boys and girls. Follow me at the Sky Lounge and all the links in the description below. Like, comment, subscribe for more daily contents. Go Hawks! I know this video review was long, but so much things to talk about. And it feels good, man! Go Hawks! Now, fuck off!